All right, I was a little wrong about goals. I'll admit it. I think I might be wrong because I learned so many things this week because everybody's talking about it. And I got a fresh perspective, which is fun. So I wanted to share that for my Friday follow up check in with y'all. I was talking about how I prefer themes over goals, but it turns out I think there's a lot of different types of people that like goals in different ways. So, I mean, I'm not surprised by this, but someone explained it to me in a really cool way that there's like people who like the destination, like I'm going to read 50 books this year, and that's by the end of 2026. And they have like these dates and these numbers, and they like the end, they get to see the end. And then they might even like list out all their 50 books, and plan it. Then there's people who are probably more like me who enjoy the process, and they're going, but they're like, I'm gonna read, I don't know, a book a month. I'm gonna shoot for that, and we'll see. And maybe I have a list too, or I'm like, I'll have my list is all kinds of things that I might want to read. So the process might be like, I'm going to go ask friends about books. So it's very, it's a different way to come at goals, but at the end of the year, we'll probably achieve a similar thing. So it's interesting, to think about how it really is just how you frame the goal and play with it. And that kind of led me to thinking, well, you could really play with it even more. What if you were a bigger, broader thinker and your goal was just like, I'm going to read more. That's it. Like it's that simple. And that could be kind of, that's kind of like a theme, right? Reading might be the theme or books is a theme. And so then anything can go under there, right? You might end up having the same stuff that the hardcore goal 50 book person is, but that could be under there. But it's just kind of like neat to think about. There's these high level people, and then you can kind of take it on a really small level of like, I'm going to read books by Southern authors who write fiction about Alabama. Like it's, and that's it. And you're like going the zoom in kind of person. So I think this would be kind of a cool exercise if you're still working on your goals. And again, we can do this any time of year. This just happens to be a time of year when people think about it, but any day you can start new goals or themes or ideas. It's to like maybe pick an idea and then, like write it in these different ways, write it at a real high level of like, and then what would go under that, or write it real specific and, do it with a number and just kind of play with like what feels good. Then you have like a whole menu of ways to approach it that you can say, oh, this one actually feels really good. I'm going to go in this direction because that like works for the way that I think. So good lesson that everyone brains work differently. We look at goals and themes and life differently. And so have fun playing with it. I think that's the neat part about life is just playing and seeing what lights you up and, what gets you to where you're going. However, whatever speed you want to go. So have an awesome weekend and we'll see what the next week of January brings.